Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Hello and welcome to the Success in Africa Leadership Podcast. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. I have been studying this for 3 decades with a particular focus on people right here in Africa. And in this podcast, I share stories, lessons, and insights about people having success right here in our beloved continent. I created this podcast because I have a vision for Africa. I have a vision of Africa becoming a middle-income continent by the year 2030 and a high-income continent by 2040. And for that to happen, I need you and every other African watching or listening to this podcast to become successful. So, if you want to be successful in Africa, I encourage you, like and subscribe to this podcast. This episode is brought to you courtesy of BCA Online, the one-stop shop for mastering leadership. Joining BCA Online is free, and it gives you access to countless hours of knowledge, videos, and a plethora of information about leadership that will enhance your leadership capacity. And if you have questions that you want me to answer after watching this video, all you got to do is log on to BCA Online. The link is on the screen, and post your questions there. That is where I will respond to your questions. So let's get into it. In the year 1993, in Kenya, the Central Bank of Kenya ranked a small building society dead last, position number 66 out of 66 among the country's financial institutions. It had unpaid staff, dwindling membership, and years of accumulated losses. Today, that same institution, now known as Equity Bank, serves more customers than any other bank on the African continent. The man who orchestrated that turnaround is Dr. James Mwangi. And his journey from a peasant farming family in central Kenya to one of the most influential bankers in African history is a story that every aspiring African entrepreneur needs to hear. So let's get into it. James Mwangi was born in 1962 in Kangema in Kenya's Murang'a County to parents who were peasant farmers. There was no family wealth, no banking dynasty that he inherited. He was just a boy who attended primary school, Nyagatungu, and then Ichagaki Secondary School before completing his A-levels at Kagumo High School. He went on to the University of Nairobi, where he earned a Bachelor of Commerce degree and later qualified as a certified public accountant. Nothing terribly special. His early career followed a pretty conventional, respectable path. He was an auditor at PricewaterhouseCoopers, then he had a stint at Ernst & Young before moving into banking at Trade Bank, where he gradually rose to become the group's financial controller. Then, in 1991, James Mwangi received an unusual invitation. The leadership of Equity Building Society, the precursor to Equity Bank, asked him to join as the finance and operations director and to help save the institution from collapse. The society was losing It was losing roughly 5 million Kenyan shillings per year and had accumulated total losses of around 33 million shillings. It had no capital to speak of and no banking license that might have offered it any leeway. Frankly, most people would not have accepted this invitation. But James Mwangi is not most people. His response was not to chase outside capital that did not exist. Instead, he turned inwards. Once he accepted the position and was running the business, he retrained the staff around a concept that was nearly unheard of in Kenyan banking at the time: genuine customer care. He encouraged employees to use their own personal and family networks to attract new members to the society, and he asked them to put a portion of their own salaries into buying shares in the very institution they worked for. In other words, to bet on its survival, financed from the inside. By 1997, this focus on customer care, getting the employees engaged, and even getting them to invest in the company, the turnaround was showing. The society was selling shares to ordinary customers and paying its first dividends. In 2004, Mwangi became the group CEO. 2 years later, in 2006, equity listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, turning a large segment of its shareholders into millionaires almost overnight. Indeed, the chance that those employees took on this society paid off handsomely. From there, Mwangi built something far larger than a recovery story. While many traditional banks in East Africa competed for corporate accounts and wealthy clients, Mwangi built Equity's entire model around the unbanked. Market traders, smallholder farmers, students, people who had never held a bank account in their lives. Agency banking brought transactions into local shops. Mobile banking reached remote areas that no branch network could touch. By the late 2010s, Equity Group had expanded into Uganda, Rwanda, South Sudan, DR Congo, where its merger with Banque Commerciale du Congo made it the second largest bank in that country. The group's customer base grew past 14 million people, the largest of any bank in the African continent. James Mwangi's influence has extended well beyond Equity's balance sheet. He was the founding chairman of Kenya's Vision 2030 Delivery Board from 2007 to 2019, served as an external advisor on inclusive finance to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and has sat on G20 and United Nations advisory bodies focused on financial inclusion and agriculture. People recognized what he has done. In 2010, Equity launched the Wings to Fly scholarship program, which has since supported tens of thousands of Kenyan students, with hundreds going on to study at leading global universities. He has been named to the Financial Times list of top emerging market thought leaders. He's won the 2020 Oslo Business for Peace Award and became a recurring guest lecturer at Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and Columbia, where Equity's business model is now taught as a case study in financial inclusion. Not bad for a peasant boy. What can we learn from the journey of James Mwangi? Let me highlight 5 lessons. Number 1, look inward when you have no capital. When Mwangi joined Equity, there was no money to raise and no investor to court. His insight was that the most powerful resource he had was the culture and the people already inside the organization. Before you go looking outward for capital, partners, or rescue, ask yourself what untapped value already exists inside your own team. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, build for the customer everyone else is ignoring. See, Kenya's established banks were chasing the wealthy and the corporate accounts. Dr. Mwangi built his entire institution around the people who banks considered, frankly, unprofitable, and that decision became the foundation of Equity's scale. The biggest opportunities in African business are often found by serving the customer that everybody else has written off. It's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, ask your people to invest in what they are building. You see, Mwangi didn't just ask employees to work harder. He asked them to put their own money into equity shares. That alignment between effort and ownership turned employees into stakeholders with a genuine reason to make the turnaround succeed. If you want true commitment from your team, give them a real stake in the outcome. That's lesson number 3. Lesson number 4, let credibility, not credentials, open doors internationally. James Mwangi did not come from an elite global background, yet his work at Equity earned him guest lecturing positions at top global universities and seats on UN and G20 advisory panels. He proved that demonstrating results, not pedigree, is what earns you a seat at the global table. That's lesson number 4. Lesson number 5, turn your success into a pipeline for others. James Mwangi didn't simply accumulate wealth and influence for himself. The Wings to Fly program has helped tens of thousands of Kenyan students access education that they otherwise could not have afforded. The most enduring African business leaders treat their success as fuel for the next generation and not just as a personal milestone. Turn your success into a pipeline for others. 5 lessons from the extraordinary turnaround engineered by Dr. James Mwangi. Number 1, look inward when you don't have capital. Number 2, build for the customer everybody else is ignoring. Number 3, ask your people to invest in what they are building. Number 4, let credibility and not credentials open doors internationally. Number 5, turn your success into a pipeline for others. From an institution that was ranked last amongst 66 financial institutions to the largest customer base on the African continent. That is the scale of what disciplined, customer-first leadership can build, even when it starts with almost nothing. So remember, wherever you are, watching this, listening, whatever your dream is, don't let the apparent lack of cash flow, money in the bank, external investors stop you from proceeding. Don't forget, you may be sitting on a pile of gold that just needs to be harnessed. Harness it. Whether it's your talent, your networks, your people's talents, their efforts, their connections. You have resources that are not fully tapped. Tap them. There's a powerful story that I want to really harp on, and that is the fact that Mwangi worked with what he had, created credibility with what he had, before that credibility then earned him the recognition that now makes him a household name. Notice the order. He was a good steward of the resources that were already under his care. And as he utilized those resources to the max, then the world opened up to him. Folks, all too soon we're out of time. We've come to the end of today's episode. I do hope you've learned a bit more about what it takes to lead and succeed in Africa. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Tell your friends about it, because together we can transform our beloved continent of Africa. I'll see you next week.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.